Lights on the screen, hey, it's Grant and Ryan. We bleed purple, talking hoops, never lying. Sacramento Kings, we rise and we fall. If you don't like that, then you don't know ball. Jerry sitting with the stories of the game, spilling all the truth, driving legends insane. From the Cow Palace days to Arco's roar, this town's heart beats on the hardwood floor. If you don't like that, turn away now. Kings in our blood, we rise strong and proud. Running up the score, Kings never back down. If you don't like that, this ain't your town.
Gutless. Absolutely gutless. I said at halftime this was going to be the biggest 24 minutes of the season, and you come out and score. No, you didn't do anything in the second half. You get outscored by the Lakers and lose 113-100, and you only score 42 points. Gutless. And I don't want to hear Mike Brown talk about how the guys aren't paying attention to detail at shoot around and blah, blah, blah. Because if he says that, there needs to be a follow-up question on, Coach, is this team not listening to you? Because there's a disconnect here, Ryan, somewhere. There's a disconnect somewhere between the coach and this team right now. I'm sorry. What other conclusion can I come up with?
Yeah, there is no other conclusion. The Lakers wanted it more, and the Kings didn't want it enough. 12 second-half turnovers. Look at the offensive rebounds. The Lakers are 24th in the NBA in offensive rebounding. They come out and hang up 15 on you, Grant. 15.
I don't even know what to say. I don't. This team, first of all, in the first quarter, you come out and you're already down by double digits. Same thing that we saw in the first game of this homestand. Yeah. Now, by the way, you're 3 games under 500 at home. And why would I think this team's going to bounce back and beat the Lakers in 48 hours? I think they might get their ass kicked. That's what I think. I mean, I don't have any hope for this team right now. I mean, you play that way in what I think is the biggest half of the season. That was one of the worst halves they've played this year, was it not? Help me out here.
Hands down, from the top down, too. De'Aaron Fox, look, if you play with fire, you're eventually going to get burnt. And he gambled in the first half. Then in the second half, he gambles 2 more times, picks up 5 fouls with about 7 minutes to go left in the quarter. And the rest is pretty much history. He comes back in the game, 2 mindless turnovers. He throws the ball to the referee, Grant. Right to the referee. And then behind the back into the front row. Just a lack of attention to detail, a lack of caring. You're talking about the disconnect, just very unmotivated basketball. Period. End of story.
All right. Well, let's look at the big picture right now. You're fading in the West. I don't have any hope for this team. You're healthy tonight, right? You had everyone playing for all intents and purposes. Yeah. In what I thought was, you made a great point the other day, and I'm going to keep repeating it. You described this 2-game series as a fork in the road. Well, you just went off the wrong part of the fork here tonight. Okay. You were supposed to go right, and you went way left. Okay. And now you're deep down that road and you got to make a U-turn and hope you can find your way back to the main road. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than this was an embarrassment tonight. And to see the Laker fans acting like that in your own arena, that's disgusting. But you know what? You deserve that. That's exactly what you deserve.
Yeah, there was an utter lack of adjustment there in the second half. Isaac Jones was somewhat, Grant, effective on Anthony Davis, more effective than anybody else, but he doesn't come in till really the fourth quarter, and then you got to bring Sabonis back in. It just shows that the heart of this team, Grant, this iteration of the Kings, it doesn't work. It's good enough to win you a good game, and it's bad enough to lose you an awful game, but it's not going to give you any consistency.
All right. Can I make this statement right now before we get to Christmas?
Yeah.
The addition of DeMar DeRozan did not make this team better. The subtraction of Harrison Barnes and Davion Mitchell has made this team worse. I'm sorry. How else can I watched this team the last 2 years with Harrison Barnes and Davion Mitchell, and they were good. Not great, but they were good. And I'm mindful of the fact they missed the playoffs last year, but I'm also mindful of the fact they won 46 games. This team's not winning 46 games this year.
No, they'll go on a run, win you maybe 4 or 5, and then do what they are doing right now, streaking the
No.
wrong way. So let me take that a step further. So
Yeah,
the moves around the fringes, obviously DeMar's a little bit of a bigger move, but what more can you do to build around Fox and Sabonis? What more can you do at this point?
nothing. What other than a big trade? And I'm going to go back to something you've been saying, and you talked about this in the offseason, and I think you're spot on about this. You're getting very close to the point. You're not there yet, but you're getting close. Where as an organization, you've got to make a decision as it relates to De'Aaron Fox. Okay?
Correct.
I use this analogy to Derek Carr and the Raiders. And even though I wouldn't put Carr at the same level of status as Fox, there were a lot of times when Carr would leave you like, wow, okay?
Right.
He played there 9 years, and the Raiders were only 2 playoff games, and they lost them both and didn't even play in them. And they decided to go in a different direction. Now, the Raiders are awful. I understand that. But the
Sure.
point is, they took the most important position on their field, and they decided that they were going to go in a different direction. De'Aaron Fox now, at this juncture of his career, if the Kings don't make the playoffs this year, he will have only played in 7 playoff games in his entire career and 1 series. I'm not blaming it on him. That's not what I'm doing here.
Right.
But what I'm saying is he's your most marketable piece. He's your biggest commodity. Maybe you go in a different direction because you have your commodity and you're not getting any return on it. You're just not. So you've got to make a big decision coming up here, Ryan. And I give you a lot of credit because you were on this before me or a lot of other people. This organization is going to have to figure out whether he's the future or not, and they're going to have to do that soon.
Well, and the timing of that, Grant, is the difference between a rebuild and a recalibration, right? So if you do it too late, you're going to be closer to a rebuild. If you do it during the right time, you can recalibrate. I mean,
Well,
it's a
you're
really
right.
look.
You're right.
We're here. We are here. We are more than a quarter of a way through the season, Grant.
Yep.
This team, for the 3rd straight season, is not performing well on its home court.
No.
You can't even beat the Lakers, who have been playing awful defense as of late.
Yep.
You can't even beat yourselves. The Kings couldn't beat themselves tonight. That's what's
Ryan,
most disappointing.
Here's the standings now. 13-15, 6-9 on the home floor, and you're now 2 full games out of the play-in, and you're heading south. And I don't see any light right now at the end of the tunnel. And I'm telling you, Vivek Ranadive right now is beside himself. And I can tell you, this is not pleasant, what's going on behind the scenes. And I don't know what to expect, but I know one thing. If I was a fan in attendance tonight, rooting for the Kings, I'd boo their ass off the floor tonight.
Yeah.
I would have booed their ass right off the floor.
Yeah. And before anybody comes in here and says the refs were terrible, Sabonis shouldn't have been teed up, don't even start. De'Aaron Fox was more concerned with the referees this game than he was with switches and matchups. And guess what? Sabonis probably doesn't get that technical if the Kings hadn't been chirping the entire game. He would have got the benefit of the doubt that he was speaking to his teammate. It's the Kings' MO, Grant.
And I'm reading a lot of the comments from the announce team, and my phone's been ringing off the hook. And listen, I can't comment on Mark Jones and Katie because I don't watch them. I understand it's horrible. I get that. I know that there are a lot of upset people based on what I'm seeing on my screen here and on my phone, but I can't comment on it because I won't watch it. I won't. And I'll leave it at that. Okay. If you don't like it, complain to the team. Yeah. That's what you need to do. I can't, nor will I, comment on something that I'm not watching. I can't believe that all the people that I'm seeing on social media and on my phone and on this screen here are being dishonest with what they're seeing. Maybe they want to make me feel better. That ship has sailed. I haven't done a Kings broadcast since, I don't know, 2020, right? It's 2024. It's almost 2025. I'm not coming back. I'm not. That's not. I'm in a different direction. Don't worry about my feelings. You don't have to worry about me. I'm fine. I just feel bad for you. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you because I took great pride in what I did for so many years with you and the love I had for the franchise and the city. And so I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm sorry.
It's a broadcast with no passion. Sacramento's all about passion.
Yeah. Well, I don't have to let people know about the passion I had for the team because, I wore my tears on my sleeve. But let's move on.
Yeah.
You know what, Ryno? I don't even know what to say right now because that was such I didn't expect that, Ryan. At halftime, all three of us picked the Kings to win this game.
Yep.
And I said I thought this was going to be the biggest half. And because of that, I picked the Kings to win because I really felt they would respond. And not only did they not respond, Ryno, they went into the tank.
Yeah,
that was awful.
They folded their tents. I knew in the fourth quarter, and by the way, in the third quarter, there was a point where the Lakers were in the bonus and they hadn't fouled the Kings one single time. They brought the fight to them out of the locker room, and I knew when LeBron single-handedly ripped the basketball away from 3 Kings on a jump ball that the Kings just didn't want it tonight. It wasn't going to be their night. And unfortunately, bad timing.
You want to get some calls?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's kick it off with Dirk. What's up, Dirk?
I mean, you guys are touching on a lot of the same topics I was about to. Like, this felt like it needed to be a respond game for 2 guys. 2 guys in particular I wanted to see step up this game. One was Fox, just because he was called out in the media. The other was DeMar, because he fumbled that pass from Sabonis. And this was probably DeMar DeRozan's worst game as a King. You guys agree?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
He just wasn't ineffective. When the Kings look bad, it's because the ball's not moving. Like, maybe 2 guys are getting shots. We got some ball dominance here. Things aren't flowing. We don't want. Part of us, I think, doesn't want to put it on Fox because everything is always on Fox, but we kind of know it is. The spirit of what is going wrong is Fox's energy. It's not, something's amiss. He can't be the heart and soul of your team. And I love the guy. Like, I love when he's watching him play, like, certain moments. So it hurts, like, to think, okay, this guy wants to be here. He's grown, but there's just something missing. And the season feels like, okay, it's on this downward trajectory. It's not gonna happen for this unit. So what's the smart play to get off? So now we're dissecting the team and trying to think about a rebuild, which is just
the season's not over. I mean, we're talking doom and gloom, but the season's not over. You're still only a couple games out of relevancy, but we're also not blind and we're not stupid. And we understand that the sample size of this team this is who they are. They're not all of a sudden going to go on a 10-game winning streak,
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. You can see that it's not there. Right. Where's the momentum? They're beating bad teams with guys missing. There's nights they're playing against opponents who are missing good players, and they never feel in control. By the way, just that quick side topic. Grant, please tell me you did a rant on the Charlotte organization at some point. Do you hear the story about the kid? You hear the story about the kid with the PS5?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's your rant topic. I'm telling you.
Okay, I'll look it up. Thank you.
Man, it'll be that's one thing to look forward to. The Kings, but okay. Grant, your rant on this is going to be classic. I'll tell you that.
Thank you, Ryan. Anyway, you know what he's talking about, Ryan?
I do not know.
Oh my
God,
me
interested,
guys. Right around crypto. Oh, okay. I'll just leave it there. I'll let other callers talk.
Okay.
Good night,
Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate you, Dirk. PS5. How interesting could a PS5 be?
I don't know, but we'll have to check it out after the show.
We will do that. Andy, what's up? Welcome in tonight.
Hey, what's up, guys? Similar to Dirk, same issues as you guys. I agree with so many points you guys made, from the broadcasting to, some fans making excuses about the refs or, the ball not bouncing our way and all these things. But like ultimately, I don't mean to jump to any conclusions, and I don't consider myself like like a dramatic person, or someone that overreacts. But Mike Brown, man, for one, he's supposed to be this defensive guru. This is supposed to be his calling card. He's been preaching it for 3 seasons now, and ultimately, he's not on the court. But I just feel like, how many games and how many post games are we going to listen to him and then also the players say the same things, like they got punched in the mouth first, or the other team was more physical, or our guys weren't ready to play? And then, like Grant said, well, you should follow that up with another question. Well, why aren't these guys ever ready to play? It seems like,
That's
I
coaching.
almost,
That's
I
on the coaching
almost,
staff.
you said it's not coaching, Grant?
I believe it is coaching. I believe
Yeah.
it's up to the coach. I believe when players get paid a lot of money, you shouldn't have to motivate them. But the reality is, all coaches will tell you there are times when you got to kick your team in the ass. And these starts that the Kings are having, and their lackadaisical approach to stuff. And again, the thing that bothers me the most about what goes on with this team from afar is Mike Brown keeps on talking about this team's not following their instructions. They're not paying attention to detail. They're not, well, why isn't that? I mean, that's the job of a coach. A coach is to coach the team. But if the players aren't listening to what the coach is saying, you're not going to implement that on the floor. And that to me is what is happening right now. I look at this roster. Okay. I look at this roster. It's much better than the record indicates.
Yes, I agree with you. And another thing too, like I totally get that our depth isn't the best as far as our bench, but still, I still have issues with the rotations. He didn't play Isaac Jones the whole entire game, throws him in the fourth quarter for a couple minutes, and then just pulls him out again. Um, I just noticed it a lot. Like Doug McDermott, the last 2 games played relatively well. Obviously, Keegan wasn't playing, but then tonight he gets no minutes, and you have to wonder. It's like, if we're getting punched in the mouth and the other team has so much more energy, why not look, towards the bench to maybe bring some energy from someone else?
You shouldn't
There's
have to. The
Well,
word energy should never, ever come up in a game of this magnitude against the Lakers. Okay.
exactly.
If we are talking about energy against the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James on the floor, okay, with your rival who's ahead of you in the standings, when you're just coming off a brutal 1-point loss, if I have to even hear the word energy, which by the way, you're spot on, that to me is a major red flag with this team right now. The fact that we're talking about energy in a Lakers game of this magnitude, think about that for a minute.
And you almost wonder, like, do the players not feel the sense of urgency every time we come on here? We're stressed out. We're like, the season's not looking good. We're in 12th place. All these teams are really, really good. The Western Conference is stacked. Like, we need to start putting some wins together, especially at home. And then it's so unfortunate to watch them come out and they're lacking energy. They're not getting to the loose balls. They're not boxing out. Just like little things that are just more effort based.
right.
And I also wanted to get one last question in, and your guys' opinion on, if Fox does make All NBA, I'm a huge Fox fan.
He's not making
Not
Fox NBA,
happening.
but go ahead.
I
But he's not
yeah,
going to.
I doubt it, but let's just say he was up for the Supermax. Um, like, do you guys think signing him to the Supermax, if he wants to stay, is worth it for as a franchise? Just primarily because
I don't.
there is moments like the playoff series, and there is moments like where he's very aggressive and he looks like an all NBA player. But then too many times, like last game against the Nuggets, this game today, like the whole first quarter, he has one shot attempt or two shot attempts and 0 points. And I just, if we're gonna compare him to Luca, SGA, Jalen Brunson,
You
like
can't
go,
comparison. You can't put him in that category. He's not in that category.
yeah, so or just even in like the All Star category, Ja Morant's, like those types of players. You go watch them play; they're not just like sitting in the corner and like not being aggressive. De'Aaron Fox, just too many games, is just not aggressive enough. And then the next game he is, and then
Well,
he has to get angry in order to be aggressive. you know, you just like, do you really want that out of your franchise player? Can he
And
lead you to a championship?
Andy, to me, the thing that separates Foxy from some of the guys that you just named, I think Foxy has the same skills and can be of the same skill set as those guys, but it's the composure. It's
Yeah.
the follow me. I'm not going to lead you to the wrong place. It's too up and down. We've seen the sample size with Foxy. I love him too, but I just, I think you'd be signing up. I mean, how could anybody make the argument that we wouldn't be signing up for another 6 years of this?
Hey, thanks for the call. You made some great points. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you. You know, I'm not even going to wait towards the end. I'm doing this right now. This is a rant with Grant, and it is brought to you by EDH Motors. All right. If you are looking for a new vehicle this holiday season, Mercedes, Land Rover, Toyota, whatever brand you're looking for, EDH Motors can get it for you. And you never have to step foot into your typical franchise dealership. Saves you money and time. And folks, you might even have a little bit of fun. Go to edhmotors.com. They've got a little bit of everything: exotics, highline, classics, economy. And if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll get it for you. Keep that in mind. You don't see what you're looking for? No problem. Contact David or Adam at EDH Motors. They'll get it for you. All right. They're just a unique business. I love this business model. It's great. They're located in their auto lounge in the El Dorado Hills Town Center. Go to edhmotors.com. EDH Motors, automotive reimagined. All right. So it is time for my rant. And this is an easy one tonight. That was a gutless performance, and what I believe to date was the biggest game of the year. Coming off a difficult, brutal 1-point loss to the Denver Nuggets, the Lakers, LeBron, the hated Lakers in your building. And in the first quarter, they got 37 points. And then in the second half, when you're right in the game's up there for grabs. You score 42 points. 42 points? What the heck is going on with this team? 6-9 at home? Gutless. Everyone on that team should apologize to the fan base tonight. Every single one. Coaching staff should apologize to the fan base. You can't do that. You can't. We're talking about energy on the postgame show against the Kings and the Lakers. Think about that for a minute. I don't like what I'm seeing, folks. I don't like what I'm seeing. And I don't think there's a quick fix. And I'm not blaming it all on Mike Brown, but I told you in the offseason it was stupid to give him a contract extension because you didn't have to. Stupid. Right now, it's not looking too good. And there seems to be something going on between the coaching staff and this team based on what Coach Brown says in the press conferences. I don't know what to say. I'm exasperated. I really am. I'm not normally at a loss for words, but my rant is very simple. Apologize to your fan base tonight because that was a gutless, pathetic performance. Absolutely gutless. Gutless. Should be ashamed of yourselves. And that's my rant for tonight.
Hey, Napes, it's your producer, Ryno. You got to do a bonus rant here, okay?
Yes.
Don't let the listeners hear this, but here's the story. The Charlotte Hornets have apologized for appearing to gift a PlayStation 5 to a child during an on-court skit, only to take it back off camera in the hallways and give him a jersey instead.
Oh, come on. You're kidding me, right? You know, is it Christmas time? Is it the holiday season? Is it a time for giving, right? Like, you know what they should have done for the kid after that? They should have given him a jersey of every single player on the team and a PlayStation or whatever the hell you called for every member of his family and all of the kids in his classroom in school. That's the way it should have been done. Really, is that the story coming out of Charlotte? Has that been validated? Has that been like research? Is that accurate? Seriously?
It has been validated. It is a story on a legitimate news site, one of the major four. The post-show, the Hornets mascot, Hugo, dressed as Santa Claus, handing the PlayStation 5 to a young fan who takes the gift with a mixture of shock and delight on his face. However, the ex-user who said the child is his best friend's nephew said the Hornet staff later took the PlayStation back from the boy off camera and handed him a jersey.
Wow. Well, That I don't even need to do a rant on that. That goes without saying, and that is despicable. Let's get back to some more phone calls so I can listen to all the criticism on the Sacramento Kings team, which is justified after this game tonight.
Amen. We see everybody waiting for calls. We'll get to all of you. Thanks for being here. Jay, you're next up.
Well, to address that Charlotte situation, well, how are you guys doing today?
Good. I don't want to go on a tangent with the Charlotte situation on the Kings-Lakers game. So can we table that for another day?
Yeah.
I mean, it was appropriate based on the previous caller for Ryan and me but I don't want the show to go off the rails. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say they're a terrible organization in the first place, but the Kings aren't looking too far-fetched from that either. I mean, my call today was very similar to your rant regarding, I wouldn't call this the worst performance of the Kings. I would call it the worst offensive performance, which is quite strange when you look at the statistics of tonight's shooting splits. Compared to the Lakers shooting splits, we actually had a higher field goal percentage as well as a higher three-point percentage. Yet this was probably the worst offensive performance of the Kings.
So the Lakers took 13 more shots. The old-ass Lakers who need walkers to get in the arena, outran the Kings off the court.
Yeah, and that goes back to the whole energy situation. I don't really make too much of a big deal starting off slow. This team.
Oh, I sure as hell do.
I don't mind it because I feel like this team is what you would call a microwave team, where you get more warm as more time continues.
No, I disagree. I totally disagree. They're not a microwave team. They're a veteran team, and a veteran team should not come out and have so many bad quarters, especially at home, because you know what happens, Jay? When you get off to a slow start, your crowd is taken out of the game, and therefore you negate what's going on with your home court. Home court advantage is normally because of the fans. That's very important. When you're playing like that early in the game, it takes the crowd out of the game. So I totally disagree with you.
Well, yes, I the momentum shift, I understand that part of the game. And overall, just like I said before, it was definitely the most in my opinion, the worst offensive performance. You looked a lot discombobulated out there on the floor, and you had a lot of turnovers. We lost in the rebound game. And if you would have asked me at halftime, I would have said there's already too many turnovers, even though we weren't. I don't know how many total we had.
We only had 5
at half. And I thought that was too much because
to
your point, even though it's only 5 at halftime, to your point, Grant, with the crowd getting taken out of it, you keep turning that ball over. Your crowd's going to get taken out of the game real quick, and you're going to hear a lot of the and the momentum changes very quickly in that arena. And how much did we finish with the entire game right now? 17. So you had 12 more in the second half.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that goes to one of the worst offensive performances. And how many did the Lakers score off of those 17 turnovers? They probably scored on at least half of them,
The Lakers had points off of turnovers, 24 points off of turnovers.
Jeez, that's a lot of points off of turnovers. And to your point, Ryno, with the Fox back-to-back, he threw it straight to the ref. Yeah, that's very unfortunate. That's tough when you're trying to get on a run, and it's fourth quarter, it's clutch time. But this guy was out for 9 minutes, and that's not. I'm not saying making excuses for turnovers, but it's like, if anything, I want to hold him more accountable to getting in foul trouble, picking up that 5th foul, which was just a stupid foul. You're in foul trouble. You don't reach across someone's body. You let them get the layup in that scenario, knowing you're the head of the snake. But you had cost yourself 8 or 9 minutes of the rest of the third quarter before you were able to come back into the game. So you sit a halftime, you play 3 minutes, and then you get sat out.
Well, it's what I go back to. He doesn't have the composure of a superstar. That's a stupid foul.
It's a terrible foul.
It's an awful foul. And then you have the television analysts telling you, well, these things happen because you play such big minutes, things run together. No, it's just too much. The whole thing.
Yeah. And I agree with you guys all the time. I don't care about the referees. Bill Kennedy's actually my favorite referee of all time. I love when he refs, any game, I'll watch it. I love that guy. the technical foul, I don't care about that. It's one free throw, whatever. Keep playing. You don't have time to sit there and cry about it. And you can't challenge it. People are talking about challenge the call. You have one timeout left, so you're not going to sit there and challenge a technical foul call. It's not like it was an out of bounds call. So, like you guys say all the time, and that's just to reiterate to the fans is the refs. It didn't cost any game today. This was the Kings' terrible performance, and I'm very interested in hearing what Mike Brown has to say at the press conference.
I
I'll
can
leave
tell
it
you
at that.
I can tell you what Mike Brown's going to say, because they're going to talk about the blocks. There was how many blocks this game?
Anthony Davis was a monster in the paint tonight.
He had a ton of blocks tonight, 9 blocks altogether for the team. Mike's going to say they didn't spray the ball enough. He's going to talk about the turnovers.
Yeah, he's going to say the same thing. Hey Jay, we got a full deck. We're going to let you go. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Let's get to over the seas to Belgrade and Baki. Hey Baki, how are you?
Hey, you guys, I don't want to play smartass here and saying that I told you, but the facts, I told you. 3 persons I'm going to say something about. First, Coach Mike Brown. I watched the NBA basketball now 35 years, and I still don't know how big impact has the coach on the team overall. But let's say it has. So what he did prove to us, only one thing, that the award of the coach of the year is nothing but the award for the new team who is performing something new after 20 years of not playing in playoffs. Mike Brown is, for me, I repeat, for me, a joke, a clown.
He's not a clown.
Okay, maybe I'm overreacting right now.
You are. You're overreacting. Come on.
He is not in maybe top 15 coaches in the NBA, maybe more. I don't know. I don't want to.
Okay, well that's fine, but he's not a clown.
Okay, let's keep him. Okay, I'm 100% positive that he's a great guy off the court. I can bet my life he is. But this coaching stuff, give me a break. So I skip. Number 2, Fox. The guy is fast, talented, knows the basketball, but his nature is not for the winning team. Sorry. For him, the most important thing is to prove himself to the audience, to make the show, dribble the ball, throw the few behind the back, trying to be the king of steals. I don't know. And he puts himself on the 5 fouls in halftime. I don't know. I mean, this is really ridiculous. He will not play in Europe with these serious coaches half of the time he's playing. So a lot of people ask themselves, is he the guy for build and the leader of the team? He is not, period. Maybe Sabonis is. He is not. I was on the edge till tonight. So that's it. Trade him. I don't even think over it anymore. And number 3, DeRozan. The beginning of the season, I told you, if we won a great or at least very good season this year, you would need a season of the career from him. Not happening. Looks like we can forget about it. So that's it.
Thank you, Baki.
Appreciate it, Baki.
You. Thank you, buddy. I want to, tell you about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock, 24/7. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. That's New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. And Bennett's, yes, great place to get down there this weekend for their brunch, whether it's Sacramento, Roseville, or the West Side Grill in Rockland. Go to bennettsrestaurants.com, prime seafood and steak. And it's a fabulous place to gather this holiday season during the happy hours, 2 to 6. Great share plates. The Sips and Taste happy hour is dynamite. You'll love the prices on the wine. It's all there for you at bennettsrestaurants.com. bennettsrestaurants.com, prime seafood and steak.
So we're going to go back.
Want to talk tonight, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, and we're going to get them all on really quick because you started the show this way, asking about the disconnect and what could it be. Is we're listening to people talk, and I'm reading the chat. It's IQ, Grant, and the question is, where is it from? Is it from the bench or is it from the players? Somebody's not all in on whatever the plans are with this team.
Somebody or one person or plural?
Well, plural. I think we have a case because tonight coming out, the Kings ran a scheme that I felt was insufficient and poorly prepared for a team like the Lakers.
I agree.
It's downhill against the Lakers. It's not DHO and kind of step back, or excuse me, dribble handoff and step back. But then, sometimes when your boss asks you to do something, you got to do what the boss says, but you don't completely agree with it. You don't do it all the way. So I can't fault people for saying Mike Brown's doing a bad job, but where's that coming from? Do the coaches know better? Do the players know better? I'm somewhere in the middle because the basketball IQ has regressed this year.
Terrible. It's terrible. And it reflects in the record. And the fact that they're 6-9 at home is that's hard to digest. It really is.
Yep. Let's go back to the phones. Don, welcome on tonight, bud.
Hey, Ryno. Hey, Grant. How you guys doing?
Don. Good.
I'm just want to respond to all the talk, especially when you get focusing on Fox with this claim that he's not playing with energy. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I can see that the Kings are out there with intent. They're trying to play. They're trying to, but like everybody was trying to mention in the chat or between you guys, that the execution is off. I mean, in the fourth quarter, how many times did I see Fox trying to get out and run, and then he would dribble behind his back, and he would lose the ball. So I think it's not that Fox doesn't have not playing without any passion or energy. I just think that sometimes his focus is gone for some reason.
Well, his focus shouldn't be gone. He's still, you can't,
he is a veteran. Yes.
Here's the deal. The fact that we're talking about this tells you that there's an issue, because you don't talk about this with Luka, John Morant, SGA, Curry, Brunson. These conversations aren't going on in that market, but we're having this conversation on it's all too often, right? And so that tells me that, well, there is something going on.
Lack of effort, like what? Like not? I don't understand.
I just think I use the word consistency. To me, it's consistency or lack thereof.
And Napes, this is coming off Coach Brown calling him out about as strong as you can.
Yes.
Yeah, and I noticed that Ryan said something earlier in the chat when he said composure, and that's what I see. I don't know if that reflects on the coach or whatever, but it seems like that the starters at the end of game, it's in the fourth quarter at times, they totally lose their composure. That's it.
Yeah, they speed up for sure. Hey, Don, thanks for the call, brother, and thanks
you
for always tuning in. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right.
113-100, the final, and we're getting some good calls tonight.
Hey, man, keep them rolling. BJ, welcome in tonight, bud.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for doing these shows. We really appreciate it. And I'm the old school Kings fan, so I appreciate the intensity about this team. But there's just some things that you have to really address, and we're just talking about symptoms of such a deeper brokenness. And you can go coaching or the style of the game or the mindset of how they're approaching it and trying to mix a bunch of different players, because on paper they have good players, but you have to be able to buy into a structured system, and it has to be not so structured that you have to be able to pivot and make good decisions at certain times and not make bad decisions at the worst times. And so what I think is that it's if we said these two games these two games actually matter. And if you go to the last 3 or 4 quarters, or especially the first quarters, they gave up 37 tonight. And in the last game against Denver, they gave up like almost 70 something points in the first half. Yep. And it's like, it's very hard to, if you're not going to make your shots and you're going to give up 100 points in the first half, you're probably not going to win the game. And that's just not being prepared, and having someone had mentioned the sense of urgency, and I call it preparedness. Redhead stepchild of Sucktown calls it consistency and energy. There are basics of the game that you have to go to the fundamentals of how the game needs to be played so it's fun and you actually win and score points. And then that brings you to another point. The style of basketball these days is not being played to the strength of how the game needs to be played. And if you're just going to come down and just jack up shots and not necessarily run a certain set, I think it's a disservice to the not only the game but the athletes that are even playing in this era right now.
I agree.
So you see LeBron play; it's amazing to see him play. But
how about the block that LeBron had in this game tonight, and then took the ball and pulled all the court with a reverse layup? I mean, is that unbelievable or what?
That was beautiful to see. I'm not much of a LeBron. I mean, I respect him in basketball. It's just unbelievable. Yeah. I've seen him play in Arco, and then I also see him. I've seen him come play about 2 times, 2 or 3 times.
He's an embarrassment. He's an embarrassment to society off the court, in my opinion. But on the court, the guy is freaking great.
Yeah, it's just 2 different worlds, that's for sure. I'd written up I made some other points about the game of that. It's the way that we played the game was not necessarily smart. It seemed that it was discombobulated, like Jay had said, that at one point they're going, it's a much higher percentage chance in basketball to attack the rim than to actually go on a 3-on-2 break. And then it was like a miss pass to Keon, and then the ball went out of bounds. It was a total. They could have just got ran in for a layup for 2 points. The ball goes out of bounds. They get the ball, and off the inbounds pass from off getting the ball, they jack it up. 1 pass out of bounds into inbounds, a 3-pointer. They miss it. The Lakers come back and score a 3. So it's like you can get a 2 for sure, or you can try for 3 twice and miss twice. You're still out 2 points. Even if you drive the lane and get a foul and you go to the line and miss 1, at least you got 1 point. So it's a mentality of the game. You have to have a structure. And if Mr. Brown, I like how sometimes Mike Brown coaches, but most of the time, if you're not going to call a timeout or you're not going to run a set play, you're not going to have any structure. You're just going to throw the ball out there and say, play the game. It's going to be hard when you need to win. So we're going to have to make a decision about Fox. And this is my last point. Ryan has said, and I totally agree. Fox, his value was and could be immense. It depends on how you look at it and what perspective and how he looks at it. It could be lackadaisical in the way that you want to approach the game, or you can be, there's a difference in some of his body language. So his value might be high today, but tomorrow it's lower and it's declining to be less until we make a decision, because you're going to have to, you either poop or you get off the pooper. So you got to make a decision. Love you guys.
I don't thank you. I personally don't think his value is going to be low anytime soon. I think it's still very high. Let's get to Zach. Zach, it's your turn. How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same stuff everyone's saying. Fox, there's a bunch of times everyone's saying it. He gets a steal and then he just turns the ball over. He's turned the ball over way too much this year, and that's not great. I still think like he's still making 26 points a game on 48% shooting.
That's good.
I mean, he's still playing pretty well. I think we're pretty much done if he's not on the floor. So it's hard to. I think that it's just this team has just so many issues. It's not just the Fox. I don't think Mike Brown. I mean, Mike Brown also he's not the best coach in the league or anything, but I don't think he's costing this team games. I mean, the Kings I think should have won that Nuggets game, and that wasn't on him at all, in my opinion. I think he coached a good game that game. And it just sucks because there were so many West teams that lost today. We could have climbed up in the standings a little bit. Lakers, they're a bottom 5 rebounding team, and they out rebounded us by 10 or 11. That wasn't fun to see. And
here's the other issue with the loss tonight. You're 3 games back in the loss column of the 10th spot. That's significant. That's not just a little bit. That's like, wow. So, I mean, this team is very close to becoming irrelevant this year. They're very close to being that team this year. They're right on the brink of having falling off the cliff right now.
And granted, it's a great point. And also the Lakers, I don't see them going above probably 8, 7, or 6. 6 would be the total max. And the Kings now have to win 2 to tie the season series. So if the Kings are going to be in that same neighborhood, now you've got a tiebreaker issue.
Correct.
and it's tough because the Kings have had good rest and they're fairly healthy. I mean, if we're talking about NBA standards, and it's just tough to see. It's if we're gonna get the 9th, 10th or seed, we gotta play way better, and it would be actually pretty bad if we get the 9th and 10th seed not make playoffs again, because that means we lose our pick, our first round pick, and we need every asset we can get at this point. So in my opinion, I think. I mean, it's tough. Like we're trying really hard, and we can't make the top 8. And so, I mean, I'm kind of on the end of like we got to start thinking of. I mean, I hate to say this word, but we got to start thinking of reshifting this whole team, and see what's up, because we can't be this middle tier team. This is supposed to be our peak season, right? We're supposed to be a top 4 or 5 team in the league and contending for all this stuff. Everyone's at their peak age and stuff, and so. I mean, I don't want to bring out all these bad things and stuff like that, but we got to start thinking about if we do trade Fox. I don't think we're going to get good value for him in return, unless we trade him for picks.
Thank you, bud.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Thanks, Zach.
Well, I disagree. I think you could get quite a bit for De'Aaron Fox, not just picks. But the problem with picks is they're just you don't know. Picks are great until they prove that they can play in the league. And then there are many guys that you pick that can't play in the league. I'm not trading De'Aaron Fox for draft picks. That's me personally.
Well, the interesting thing is you don't know what the real value of a first round pick is going to be until that first shoe in free agency falls, because
Correct.
It's the first trade deadline during the new CBA. And
Correct.
There is a lot of value with first round picks because of the salary scale and developing and then being able to re-sign without going over the cap. Grant, I go back to what Jerry Reynolds told us yesterday, and he told us at halftime. The Kings have a distinct advantage on the guard line tonight.
Yep.
Max Christie, Austin Reeves, they turned the ball over 1 time together.
Yep.
Fox and Monk, 9 times. Names.
There you go. End of story. Yep. Very well said. Absolutely spot on. You know what else is spot on? Sunrise Landing in Calusa. If you're looking to get out of the greater Sacramento area, you can check this out by going to CalusaSunrise.com. Check out their various models, 6 to choose from, no Mellorews, no homeowners. Adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club is where you will find Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. And again, there's your website, CalusaSunrise.com. It'll get you all the information you need on beautiful Sunrise Landing. Check it out at your leisure. And it is awesome. I'm telling you, it is beautiful. And I've done a lot of research on it. And I was like, wow. And again, you're going to love the location. Again, I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20. Make it very accessible. That is Sunrise Landing. So many people tonight with feedback, phone calls, chats. We really appreciate your support. We wish the beam was lit. Thank you very much. But this team is teetering on the brink of disaster right now. It just is.
Yep, they're going to have to figure it out quick. I mean, you have about as good of a stretch as you can right now until about the 30th of this month, where you can try to make a little U-turn, but it starts with a win against the Lakers and then Detroit or Indiana. But Grant, here's the other thing we haven't mentioned. Both of the next 2 games at home are 3:00 games. The Kings traditionally do not play well in 3:00 games.
Yeah, why is the game at 3:00 on Saturday?
No idea. Probably because of the holidays, my guess is, and travel. But those games usually come later in the season. Yeah, it's not a national TV game or anything. So, who knows? How you feeling? How you feeling if you're Monty McNair right now, Grant?
Oh, you're feeling like you're going to get fired. That's how you're feeling. I mean, I'm just being very blunt. Your job security hangs in the balance with how poorly this team is constructed right now.
His hand is somewhat, I would say, probably forced to now make a move. Even if he wanted to be conservative, you got to make a move this trade deadline.
Yeah, but you can't make the wrong move. You can't make a move for the sake of making a move. I mean, that does not work. As bad as things may look, you can't make a move for the sake of just saying, "Oh, we made a move." No, I mean it's gotta work out. So, well, I mean, I don't know what else to say about tonight. Again, I opened up the show by calling the performance gutless. I'm out of words. I don't know what else to say. And I just love the fact that we're getting so many people that want to join us here and talk about everything. But I don't know what else to say about tonight. I really don't. I don't know what else to say. It was a disheartening night at Golden One Center.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, did we set the fans up too much? Did we say this was going to be too big of a game? I think you got the feel from the vibe in the building too. This was an important one, a really important one.
And that's what makes it worse for me, Ryan, is at halftime, the three of us, and I made the comment, and both you and Jerry agreed with me, that this next half would be the biggest half of basketball that the Kings have played this year.
Yep.
And based on that premise, I picked the Kings to win the game, as did you and as did Jerry. And not only did they not win, they responded with a lackluster, awful 24 minutes where they scored only 42, were sloppy with the ball, bad turnovers, bad fouls. I mean, there was nothing positive at all about the second half in the biggest 24 minutes of the season. So why would that give me any hope moving forward?
It doesn't. They played well in one quarter out of 4. It was the second quarter, and that's when you saw a lot of the bench guys. Keon Ellis gave them a big boost in 6 minutes that quarter.
Wow.
Kevin Huerter played decent, and that's when the Kings made their run.
I don't have anything else to say. You have any final words you want to get in?
I do not. Get ready for the Lakers on Saturday.
Yeah. 3:00. So you'll have the pregame, right? And then Jerry joins us at halftime, and then we'll do postgame.
Yep, absolutely. Kings Court tomorrow, 2:00. You going to be doing a show tomorrow as well?
I can't. I'm doing travel tomorrow, so I will not be on tomorrow.
Okay. Well, join us at 2. We'll digest this some more, and we'll talk more about what Mike Brown has to say and what's next for this team.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of you. Tough game tonight, but it was phenomenal to have this audience, all the calls, and everything else. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye now.